Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into a really fascinating spiritual text. It lays out this kind of radical roadmap, one that claims it can lead us from what it calls a world of traps all the way to a universal utopia. And believe me, it's a journey that's going to challenge our ideas about reality itself. So yeah, let's get into it. Right from the jump, the source material opens with this beautiful, almost poetic passage. It really sets the tone, doesn't it? This isn't about just passively learning something. It's about actively invoking it. It's about literally speaking a new reality into existence. This is the frequency we're being asked to tune into.
Okay, but before we can even think about reaching a utopia, we have to recognize the prison we're in. The text argues that our current reality is what it calls a world of traps, a whole landscape of inherited, hidden obstacles that we don't even see.
And just like that, the source turns the camera right back on us. The real point here is that these traps, they're not external things, like actual roadblocks or cages. No, they're traps of perception. And the first step to escaping any trap is knowing you're in one.
Now here's a really crucial point. The text claims these traps aren't our fault at all. We were born into a world that was already, quote, out of control. So this isn't about blame, you see. It's more like a diagnosis. And by taking blame off the table, it opens the door for something way more powerful: forgiveness.
I mean, this slide right here shows just how radical this perspective really is. It redefines war as, simply listening to some external authority tell you who to hate. But then it defines forgiveness as a totally internal awakening, finding heaven in the one thing you always have, your breath. One is just an order from outside, the other is a deep realization from within.
So this contrast between the external world and our internal one, that brings us to what the text sees as the central battleground. It's this fight between two competing voices inside all of us, the ego versus the Holy Spirit.
And again, the source makes it super clear this isn't some theoretical battle happening in a book. It's a real, practical choice that we are making in every single moment. Which broadcast are you tuned into? Which one of those voices is getting your attention?
And just look at how wildly different their priorities are. The ego's answers are all about getting things from the outside world, right? Money, people, guns, it's all about accumulation. But the Holy Spirit's answers? They're all about an inner state of being, letting go of the self, letting go of fame, and turning your focus toward love.
All right. So, we've identified the traps. We've identified the inner conflict. Now the text asks us to take this huge leap in perspective, to go, as it says, beyond the event horizon into a totally new way of thinking.
Okay, so here's where the source makes a really radical claim. It says that everything we typically use to define ourselves, our mind, our body, even our spirit, that's not the real thing. They're just labels. They're just pointers. You know that saying, a finger pointing at the moon? The words aren't the moon itself. They're just symbols for a reality that is fundamentally beyond words.
This leads to this idea of a tangled hierarchy. Think of it like a really complex set of rules in a game that everyone just agrees to follow. The source argues that society, status, even our own individual sense of self are just like that, a complicated structure that only feels real because we all buy into the basic illusion that we're all separate individuals to begin with. So, to break free from that tangled hierarchy, the source says we have to adopt quantum mechanical thinking. Now, this isn't about becoming a physicist, okay? It's about embracing the principles of it, a reality where things aren't just here or there, but they exist as pure potential. It's a state of mind where everything is interconnected and really anything is possible.
And this quantum way of thinking leads to this really unique experience, which is described by a totally unique word, plodes. It doesn't explode outwards, and it doesn't implode inwards. The text describes ploding as a kind of gentle, infinite blossoming in all directions at once. It's like a simultaneous merging and expansion into everything.
And the result of this ploding is a state that the source calls precisely infinity. It's not just the idea of infinity, like some concept in a math book, but the direct, personal experience of it. An awareness that has no limits, no beginning, no end.
an awareness that sees and knows everything because it is everything.
So what in the world does all this cosmic quantum-level thinking actually mean for us, right? Well, this brings us to the final, and I think the most personal, part of this whole journey, the realization of what the text calls your universal divine spark. So here's how it all gets tied together. The universe, at its most basic level, is just frequency and vibration. That vibration comes from that infinite intelligence we just talked about, and each one of us is a tiny piece of that intelligence, a universal divine spark. And this whole dance of creation, it all happens through the interplay of two forces, the creative or masculine and the receptive or feminine. And here's the real key insight. We don't have to go out and build this utopia. The source suggests it already exists, and it's broadcasting a top-down frequency to us right now in this very moment. Our only job is to quiet the noise of the ego so we can tune our own frequency to match it. You know, this might be the single most powerful line in the entire text. It completely flips the script on our relationship with the divine. It's not about us trying to earn our way into some finished, perfect heaven. No, it suggests that heaven needs us, that our unique awareness is an essential, necessary piece of cosmic completion.
And so this is where the source leaves us, with this final, really challenging thought. If this universal utopia is incomplete without you, well, then you have a part to play. It's no longer a question of what you can get from the universe, but what your unique spark is meant to contribute to it. So the final question is really for you. What is your role in its completion?